Hey guys, Games here again. This week with Luffy had all categories of Devil Fruits, Part 2. Now, other thing about this, I didn't realize that all Luffy's fruits that I gave him in this one all end with like the same, like literally like O. You guys don't know the One Piece manga, spoilers, but Luffy's fruit is his own, and it's called the Hito Hito no Mi Model Nika, so Hito Hito no Mi. Then Luffy's Logia is the Sun fruit, or the Taio Taio no Mi, and it's an O, it's like the Hito Hito. And then his Paramecia is basically just a it's a Sunbeam fruit, or the Yoko no Mi. The Sunbeam, I believe is Taio Taio Yoko, I believe, or not Taio Taio, just it's like Taio Yoko. I forgot the full name of it, but Yoko's like the ending word. Also sounds like fox for like the fox fruit, but not the fox, the dog fruit, model nine-tailed fox, but yeah. Alright, so we left off, I believe, before Alabasta. Luffy's current crew, I believe, also has Buggy on it right now, because Luffy convinced Buggy to join him. Also, Luffy's a bit smarter, so yeah. So they all head to Alabasta with the same current crew, besides Buggy, who's an additional member. And on Alabasta, well, it's a relatively simple arc, but Robin has more or less Luffy as a winner. Crocodile is saying Luffy's heat can blast up to points where he can turn sand to glass in a split second, which he will be doing. Plus his crew, well, Luffy's abilities are a lot hotter than Alabasta's. Well, so they're somewhat already pretty resistant to the heat. Well, the ones that in East Blue are, because they've been with Luffy the longest, so they have somewhat of resistance to this heat. They don't need as much, like garbage and everything for Alabasta. Luffy does reunite with Ace, and Ace get along pretty well, actually. So, well, I don't know what I said, actually. They get along pretty well. The whole crew gets along with Ace as well. It's pretty well. And when they actually ask like Whitebeard's crew, Luffy says no, which shocked Buggy. And he says, yeah, I should have expected that. After all, I'm pretty sure you could beat everyone aboard besides Papas and Marco either way. What shocks Buggy is Ace has that much confidence in Luffy's ability. Luffy's a genius when it comes to his own abilities. Sabo made him study day and night for his abilities. Garp taught Luffy the value of, not value, basically what it would mean and how he has to kill people if he were to use his fruit. Luffy understands a lot more, I guess, morality in a much different light, along with having basically a complete genius IQ over his overall abilities. As Luffy knows the ins and outs of weather, the sun itself, basically space and weather are Luffy's two biggest subjects. Like Luffy's a genius when it comes to both. And Marco basically like the only fight he wouldn't win, besides Whitebeard. The fact that Marco's flames are a bit different, but Luffy can just somewhat stalemate at Marco pretty easily. So yeah, if Marco uses Haki, Luffy can almost go intangible on reflex. So yeah. But so we can go into the numbers, which would be the only big change in this arc, besides Luffy not hitting Vivi because she'd missed her punch completely. He kind of have to just make sure go through him, which would burn her a little bit, but he kind of toned down his flames like the coolest they can get. So yeah. But so the numbers. First, we're starting from the lowest, being Mr. 4 versus Usopp. But Buggy's here, so it's going to be Buggy and Usopp versus Mr. 4. Buggy's hit him in the face once or twice, which almost knocked him out. But he sent a dagger into Mr. 4's arms, which did actually stun him for a second, which led to Usopp using a Firebird Star, as he has that a bit early. And it nailed Mr. 4 in the face and knocked him out. Mr. Christmas has to fight Chopper. But because Buggy and Usopp finished the fight a bit early, they kind of grab Mr. Christmas and hold her down as Chopper just knocks her out. So yeah. After that, we go on again to, I believe, the next arc being, next fight being probably like Mr. 2 versus Sanji. Sanji's able to fight pretty well, actually, and actually win in canon, except for Mr. 1 and Nami. Mr. 1 and, not much one. Zoro and Nami, they win the fight the same way in canon. Robin knows Crocodile as the first fight they had. Luffy is just going to stalemate Crocodile, honestly just using their Logias almost like the same skill. Luffy says that with his crew nearby, he can go all out, so they can go all out in their next meeting. So yeah. And Luffy's currently able to go intangible off reflex now. So yeah, that first fight he hit Crocodile would allow him to use it. But now with this, Crocodile and Luffy are facing each other, and Luffy tells Crocodile he'll turn to the glass in a second, and he'll make Crocodile's bedroom window. At least he just smirked at this. Crocodile would just laugh at Luffy, assuming Luffy being fighting, and he can't really land a hit on Luffy, as Luffy's heat is honestly destroying the sand or turning it to glass. And Luffy eventually, in the middle of their fight, Luffy isn't really hit at all. Crocodile's main one being hit, as Luffy has some rubber ability. He also is coated in water, so he's only using rubber techniques. He's also bending light around himself, so yeah, he's gonna just rubber attacks, but he occasionally to just stop the attacks. But eventually, Luffy just basically used Gomu no Gatling. Crocodile, as he's coated in water, and Crocodile couldn't really see where Luffy was, so he's pounded into the dirt, and this fight lasted 5 minutes. So, yeah. Crocodile being defeated in the span of 5 minutes. Well, this shocks Robin that Crocodile was beaten that fast, which she assumed it would mainly be like Luffy turning into glass, but no, it's honestly just going no Gatling. Turning a few small things into glass was a bit easier. Luffy frees Cobra, and Crocodile with the last bit of consciousness did say they talked about the bomb. Luffy had an idea. With this, he went outside and yelled "Cruel Sun." Held his palm out as he made a basically giant sun that's about the size of the bomb. He sent the sun flying towards where the bomb was, and the sun kind of engulfed the whole upper half of the whole where the bomb was, and the bomb has just turned to ash completely. The bomb is kind of just absorbed into the sun. Luffy sent the sun flying into the air, then it just blew up in the sky. So yeah. So the bomb didn't cause any damage whatsoever. Luffy just contained it all by just because he can, I guess. With this, the Strats would all leave, and now they head to the next arc, being Jaya. So also the giant things in the sky. Luffy immediately just let off a giant barrage of just fireballs at them, and they didn't really get they didn't see any effects happening, so they immediately just retreated. So yeah. So the next thing is now going to be, I would say, probably just Jaya chilling out. Bellamy tries to beat up Luffy, but Luffy just goes tangible, and Bellamy's hand is just completely scorched by Luffy, which makes him feel in pain as he falls back, holding his hand that has insanely bad burn marks on it. But Luffy held out basically a finger that is a very compressed fireball on it. Luffy tells Bellamy how compressed it is. If he were to hit Bellamy with it, Bellamy's whole body would probably be blown up. Bellamy can either die or he can leave. Choose one. Luffy got a bit nervous, but Connor crawled out with his tail between his legs, along with his crew. The hyena retreated. And Blackbeard's crew, Blackbeard himself will talk to Luffy. And Luffy and him do just talk a bit more, but Buggy called out this guy may actually be Blackbeard that Ace is hunting. And he's realizing that one of them at least has the idea down. He says that he is. Luffy would smirk, telling Blackbeard they should fight to see who's strongest. As Ace says he could be everyone Whitebeard's crew besides Pops and Marco. This teaches smirk, saying he can do the exact same thing. After this, Luffy and Teach fight, and the fight engulfs a majority of Jaya. But this crew had evacuated everyone to the forest before anyone had died. And by the end of the fight, Luffy actually had beaten Teach, but passed out himself as Teach cancels out his devil fruits many times. But you only cancel out one of the devil fruits, not all of them. His other arm still could stretch, or at least charge up a little bit of heat. But Luffy passed out, and it was more of a draw than Luffy's win. Teach's crew were actually beaten up by Luffy's crew. The crew being leaving the fight, they're just beaten up as they're leaving. So yeah. So with this Zoro will go over to Luffy, picking him up, walking away, and Buggy shocked that Luffy's that strong, but so is Teach, which was a bit concerning. So yeah. Luffy's variety was basically the sun versus a black hole, or the sun versus the sun but dark. So yeah. Luffy's a bit more versatile in his ability, so he beat Teach. Not beat, but he matched with them. Next up, they have Skypia, and while they're up there, it's a pretty chill thing. And eventually, they leave them versus Enel, but Luffy just beats Enel the same way he does in Canon. But when Enel tries to basically melt a gold ball to Luffy's hand, Luffy just burns his flame so hot that they just droop down to being regular liquid gold. And yeah, and I realize that Luffy's also basically intangible, but they can do it just off reflex now, and Enel has to actually somewhat try. So, yeah, which makes Luffy a bit superior than him. And Luffy says that if Enel's the god of Skypia and the god of lightning, Luffy's the god of Blue Sea and the god of the sun. And Enel mumbles something saying he's like the sun god Nika, which immediately confused Luffy on who Nika was. But Luffy would know later on. But he basically uses just a giant, Enel has Raigo, Luffy just has Cruel Sun. Enel charges up a Raigo, Luffy charges up Cruel Sun, and his Cruel Sun completely engulfed the lightning and engulfed Enel, which actually almost killed him. Because Enel couldn't go intangible, a lot of the damage was negated, but he'd passed out just through how hot it was, and it burned him pretty badly. So yeah. Well, with this, Enel's defeated, and he still retreats on his Maxim, all the way to Skypia. So yeah. So all this Skypia, all the way to the moon. And Luffy exits the fight, not even scathed. So, yeah. His crew's fights pretty much the same in Robin's. Robin also, when he gets his Water 7, has a full confidence in Luffy beating up everyone there. Also, Frankie can't really land a hit on Luffy when they do fight all the times. All this arc is honestly just Luffy making fun of Frankie, because Frankie can't land a successful blow on him. So yeah. Also, since they have two ships tied together, being the Big Top and the Mary, And shockingly, no one's actually tried to run off with either of the ships. It's pretty surprising to Luffy, but yeah. And they just say the big top's in a lot better condition than the Sunny, but they're both not that good of condition. So yeah, the Sunny's not used too much, but so they do use occasionally. In those occasions, it is still pretty worn down. The Sunny's been in the same condition as in canon. The big top is almost in worse condition. So yeah. All right, so we go on, and now we'd say probably just like we don't know like Enies Lobby is the biggest difference in this arc. On their way there, well, then they basically get over to Water 7, and they have to fight against everyone. Well, Frankie would actually fight against Fukuro, but Buggy would be with him, as Buggy just smirks, saying he can fight whoever he wants to. Frankie said he had it on his own, but who cares? Buggy's Buggy. Fukuro's kind of being caught off guard by Buggy's just, well, versatile abilities. Then Frankie would take advantage of that and beat up Fukuro. At least, actually, Frankie pretty easily winning that fight. So, yeah. Well, Frankie and Buggy. Zoro would fight against Kaku, and Zoro's a bit stronger in this one. The fact that, well, Luffy always trains his abilities, especially with Nami, because she knows a bit more about weather than him. So, Luffy training a lot more because Nami does teach him a few things. Well, Zoro will train with him just because Zoro's the one who trains the most out of the crew. Zoro has a bit better speed, strength, and his reflexes are basically honed to perfection. Kaku can land really one blow on Zoro with how fast Zoro moves. Luffy moves at the speed of light almost regularly, so Zoro has to dodge all that regularly. Kaku's nothing. Kaku's pretty easily cut down in the span of like 2 minutes. And Zoro didn't even need Ashura, he just needed one good onigiri. So yeah. One good well-placed onigiri. Now Sanji versus Khalifa. Khalifa, whoever her name was. Sanji honestly just jumped away, and he used the Abujambe as, well, Zoro trained with Luffy. Sanji didn't want to be left behind, so he trained with them as well. Sanji unlocked the Abujambe earlier, and just used basically shockwave from that kick to send all Khalifa's bubbles towards her, then retreated. Then he ran by Nami, telling her what's going on, and Nami took advantage of Khalifa still being dazed by the shockwave. And well, with this, Nami kind of beat her up pretty easily. And Luffy actually was watching Nami fight, as he has an interest in this. Nami's contact is now perfect. She could bend light to make somewhat of just, I would say, like, quote-unquote, after images. Not only they're most distortions of Nami's body. One seems a lot taller, one seems a lot more chunky. One seems short, one seems just, they all seem different. Luffy would just smirk at, no, now he has the ability of light distortion. Honestly, when he fight Lucy or following him, he can be distorting light a bit. But eventually he appeared in front of Spandam, who's trying to drag Robin down where Lucci was. Before Spandam knew it, he's punched in the chest by Luffy and knocked out. Luffy's punched the stairs on Lucci, going into gear second. Before Lucci knew anything about it, he's punched in the face, sent flying basically into a wall, and he went to his hybrid form almost immediately. And so that's the only way he can actually tank all that damage. But then as Luffy walked down the stairs, Luffy sorted the light, and this light distortion actually kind of blinded Lucci for where the real Luffy was. He attacked one of the distortions, and he went through it. But then the smallest one actually reached out and grabbed him by the throat and threw him into another wall. As soon as he tried to recover, he just jet gatling immediately. Luffy's been using gear second for like a few weeks now. So yeah, he kind of just pummeled him into the dirt. So every time he's done, Lucci can barely even stand, and Luffy hasn't been hit once. The fight has just been full of tricks. Turning invisible, or making quote-unquote clones. Luffy moving so fast that Lucci can't keep up with him. Or Luffy just using Solar Flare to blind him. Light is a big player in Luffy's fight against Lucci, because it's the trickiest one of Luffy's abilities. After the fight, well, the whole wall still blown up, and he sees the Buster Call. Luffy jumped in the air on top of the building, and made one cruel sun, telling all their allies to retreat. They do just that, as Luffy just will kind of make the cruel sun a lot larger, and it crashes on Enies Lobby, killing a lot of Marines. The heat waves, after even kill more Marines, Blue Nose saved his whole CP9 group before it hit. So yeah, Luffy would leave with the bounty going up to 330 million for how many Marines he just killed. So yeah, Luffy knew this would happen, but he didn't like it. He left the battle with a very sad face. But the crew does know why, as Luffy's killed a few guys, but none in this such large fashion. So yeah. But they head back to Water 7. Frankie begins combining the Mary and the Sunny and the Mary and the Big Top with the parts that are actually okay to salvage. Which they're actually able to create a few small boats, and they have a lot more gold. As Luffy says, if it was a giant cannon, who cares? I can just melt it. But on Skypiea, when they thought it was a cannon, Luffy didn't care. He said he could melt it because it looked like it was made of gold. But no, it was just one giant gold pillar, and the Big Top and Sunny could fit them both, so it worked out. But they have a lot more gold. They have a lot more golden cannon, and they have a lot more money to buy resources. With this, their boat's made a lot larger, and it's pretty good actually. So yeah, it's a lot bigger than Canonical Sunny. The ship's about as big as other Supernova ships, which is pretty shocking because the Sunny is pretty small compared to Supernova ships. It's pretty small actually. But with their ship being a lot larger, because they have a lot more materials to work with, even a bit of gold that they couldn't smelt down in time. Well, because Luffy didn't want to, but yeah. So by the time we're done, we go on probably just to now like Thriller Bark. They have Brook with them and everything. But well, Buggy kind of thinks that Thriller Bark's kind of scary, and he's part of like the coward quartet now. So yeah, Usopp, Nami, Chopper, and him. But he's still the main one who charges the battle to protect them. Like oh yeah, we're the coward quartet. Because Buggy and Chopper are like the ones that have the best combat ability. They're the ones that protect the group most of the time. So yeah, considering that Nami also trains with them the most. No, Nami, Luffy trains with them the most. The fact that they have a bit more benefit to them because they know they're smarter bit of the group. Funny, like the ones who are the most scared are the smartest ones besides Robin and Frankie, who are kind of like in the middle. But yeah, behind Robin, I'd say that Nami's the smartest. So yeah, behind her, Frankie. Then behind him, probably Usopp. Behind him, probably Sanji. Actually, I put about Jinbei in front of them now, Jinbei and Yamato, but who cares now? So yeah, so the arc's a relatively easy arc. Is any zombie that went near Luffy. Luffy just turns to a pile of dust. Yet, really, he's not captured at all. He just finds out where Oars is, and Mori talks about what he's going to do. Luffy just like glowed like bright orange, as even his hair started to turn white. And when he glowed bright orange, like in flames, well, all the ice being melting, and Oars' body is no longer being preserved. Instead, it's actually being burned. What little hairs left on it is catching on fire, and the body is being completely just torn apart by Luffy's heat. Mori would attack Luffy, but he can't get near Luffy. Luffy just using like sun rays from his hands, and he burned Mori's skin and his clothing. He was a zombie can't get close enough to Luffy because, well, they're being burned to ash. But eventually Luffy hit him in the air, avoiding one of Mori's attacks, and suddenly behind Mori was a giant Luffy. That looked perfect. He thought Luffy expanded, but no. As soon as he launched off one attack at it, it was an attack as Luffy looked like as big as Oars was. But something Mori couldn't see, as a giant light came from above him. As soon as he recovered his vision, he'd fallen over the railing that was holding Oars, and he fell hundreds of feet. As he hit the ground, he almost died, but then he's got going pistol right in the back and knocked out. We just smirked at this, and he let off one giant like blare of heat that just destroyed the whole base itself, or not the whole base, but no one was behind him and Moria. Moria still survived, which shocked Buggy, but who cares? So yeah, now with this, the crew kind of goes on a rampage, defeating everyone in their way, and no one has their shadow stolen. They can actually save it. Well, it's critical. They're actually able to leave in like the first 30 minutes of them being here. So yeah. So on their way out, they eventually do find Kuma, who had sent Piranha flying, and they find Kuma. Kuma would try to use light beams. Luffy is able to kind of just use his own light beams against them and just kind of defeat them. Kuma and him kind of have like a fight between just not equals, but Kuma for this trouble with Luffy greatly. One of Luffy's greatest attacks happens to be Gear 3rd, but he slams it down on Kuma. But then his arm's coated in flames, and Kuma, even if he's able to block it, his body's gonna be burned. Kuma is kind of a lose-lose situation, and his whole arm's completely scorched up to the point where even his skin is coming off. And well, Luffy had been defeated by Kuma, but there's not much pain to absorb. And eventually, Buggy was able to get a good blow on Kuma by stabbing out one of his eyes. But Buggy had also been defeated by Kuma by being punched almost through the heart completely. Kuma eventually decided to retreat, as his body is in the worst condition he's ever seen it in. And the Marines are shocked that they did this to Kuma. With how good Buggy's eye stab was and how notable it was, let's just go along with memes. Luffy's bounty went from 30 million all the way up to 390. Buggy went to 100 million. All the crew besides Nami, Usopp, and Chopper, and Frankie, they're on the vein of around 100 million to 130 million. So yeah. But only only Zoro and Buggy and Luffy made it on Supernova. So there's 13 current Supernovas. Luffy's the highest bounty of them all. So yeah. Also, I heard that Luffy beat up Teach. So yeah, just Luffy passed out into the fight. This Teach is still actually recovering from that fight. Yeah, the sun is going to leave a lot of lasting damage on you. So when Teach fought Ace, the fight is more to an equal, and Ace defeated Teach's whole crew and Teach himself. Well, the Marines arrived and arrested them both. So yeah, but But Luffy had escaped, and Luffy is currently working on a way to break out Teach. So yeah. So yeah, with this, we go into basically just Sabaody being a pretty tame arc, actually. And, well, until, Kami is, being, auctioned off. But Luffy kind of just went invisible, as every time I sat at the stairs, but then when we all looked away, Luffy just disappeared. He went over, to Kami's, her containment cage. He immediately put his hand in, the tank, and no one saw him doing this. But then Luffy made messing with Kami's locks. When it was unleashed, well, because the locks were basically just destroyed, the explosion wouldn't happen. Everyone else Kami's collar fell off, she's picked up, and Luffy appeared as he ran out of the building, yelling, let's go, let's go, let's go. They all immediately run behind Luffy. Luffy saying that was a good job, but he could have warned them that that's what he was going to do. So yeah. Kami would actually cry thanking Luffy for this, even Hachi's shocked. And Trust immediately yells saying, get them, they owe me a mermaid. But then as soon as they try to get out the door, they can't. Wondering why is Luffy has his finger scorching, saying the door is kind of just seared shut. Then as soon as the door is broken down, the giant explosion will hit it, sending Charles and his family flying down to the ground. Charles has a pretty badly broken arm from how far he sent flying, giving Luffy the reputation of beating up a celestial dragon still. So yeah. Luffy's able to hide, and when they're hiding, it's pretty safe actually. Kid and Killer walk into the bar, not Kid and Killer. Kid and Law walk into the bar with Killer and Beba behind them. She asks Luffy, was he serious about abandoning them with a celestial dragon that he beat up? He's confused saying, what do you mean? And Kid would hit Luffy in the face, only to have Luffy grab him by the neck and throw him through the building pretty easily. And Kid's a bit angry that Luffy left him in there with an angry celestial dragon, actually. 3 of them, that is. Because the Marines are outside, and they had to escape with how many there were. Because Luffy assaulted 3 celestial dragons, not just 1, he assaulted 3. 3 celestial dragons all at once, and killed including a lot of royals. Yeah, the Marines on his ass, just on a heavy scale. So yeah. Now with this, Kid actually wants to fight Luffy and claim his bounty. And Law says he'll just fight as well, because he's a bit upset as well. But Luffy fights all 3 of them, well 4, including Killer and Beppo. But he beats them all up in the span of 2 minutes. It wasn't too hard. So yeah. Kizaru arrives in Luffy, sending over Kid, Kizaru. Not Kid, Kizaru. Kid, Killer, Law, Beppo. You can think when Sachi are a bit nervous to fight Luffy now. But he doesn't mind it. So yeah. But going forward, we go on to now probably just Luffy vs. Kizaru, or the crew vs. Kizaru. It's actually a pretty simple fight for Luffy because Kizaru uses light and Luffy just bends it or distorts it. So Kizaru does find out where Luffy is, but Luffy is a bit too tricky to actually nail one single blow on. Excuse me. But eventually, Luffy did lose the fight because Kizaru found out where Luffy's going to go next and kicked him through one of the giant trees. Kuma appeared behind Luffy, telling him who he was. Luffy immediately felt bad about it, but Kuma said something Luffy flying. But Luffy's last words as he passed by Zoro were actually, trust Kuma. And Zoro barely heard that, but he heard trust and the word Kuma. So he decided that those words were normal as he come to the crew, jump back and mumbled, only let him hear, saying, Kuma's an ally, which confused them all. He says that those were Luffy's words. So Kuma appeared in front of them all, telling Kizaru he'll do them all. He sent them all flying. Kizaru asked for the flying, but Kuma says he doesn't know, but he found the most excellent and hardest to escape places on the map they can memorize and send them flying there. It'll take them years, and at the most maybe a decade to get back together. But by the time it happens, we'll already be fully prepped. And Kizaru says, fair enough. So, yeah. Luffy arrives on Amazon Lily, he chills out there, and this arc is relatively the exact same. Luffy's an expert on weather and the sun, not mushrooms. So, he still eats the mushrooms, so got poisoned and everything. So got beat off by Sweet Pea. Yeah. Then we go on probably just now to Impel Down, which is probably not much of a different arc till he fights Magellan. Because when Luffy has to fight Magellan, let's use one tiny cruel sun sent flying towards Magellan, kind of like it's a Uso's shock, like Kuma's attack. As soon as it hit Magellan, it left like a giant burst of heat and blew away his poison and almost blew a hole through him. So Magellan's almost killed by that attack. Around Luffy's group of escapees can all head somewhere in retreat. Not in retreat, but just for safety. Also, guys are wondering where Buggy is. Because Luffy can solo this arc pretty much can destroy Impel Down in one go. Buggy's not here. Buggy's currently actually with Zoro. So, yeah, Buggy's with Zoro. So, yeah. So we go on now to basically just, we go on now to, like, I would say, like, maybe, probably just Marineford minus Buggy. So this, Luffy basically landed at Marineford. But when he landed, Ace immediately saw Luffy, and saw like, Luffy's hand position, immediately yelled to everyone cover their eyes. And Whitebeard's crew searching Luffy, searching Ace would cover their eyes, and Garp's like, before Garp could even yell cover your eyes, well, Luffy just used Solar Flare, and the pirates aren't blinded. A few of them are because some of them didn't listen or hear Ace, but yeah, a lot of the Marines are blinded. Like, the majority of the Marines are blinded. He's doing coverages on Teach. So that Pops basically ends up kind of just telling everyone to uncover their eyes. They do so. Even if the Marines blinded, they all just completely just utterly decimate the Marines in the span of a few seconds. And Sengoku even blinded himself, and Garp isn't. And Sengoku actually asks Garp that he knew was coming, and Garp says he launched it before he could say cover their eyes. He didn't think that Luffy would arrive this early. And with this, Sengoku and Garp still covering their vision. Suddenly, Sengoku and Garp are both grabbed by their shirts and being thrown at each admiral. Like, not each admiral, so Kizaru is kind of still occupied with Marco, but Luffy landed right in front of Ace, and we'll basically end up kind of using heat to melt sea stone, which Ace would get burned by a bit. But by the time Luffy's done, Ace is freed, and Ace basically called for Marco, as Marco heals Ace. Luffy says, "Oh, so you're the guy that I can't beat, huh?" I just looked at Marco, and Ace says, "Oh, you're still stuck on that comment." And Marco basically says, "What do you mean?" But Ace says, "Just give me a ride to Pops, and I'll tell you what I mean." So yeah, well, Luffy, Paul. All right, so, yep, so Ace kind of just tells Marco, like, you know, oh yeah, Luffy's strength is so great, I think you'd beat every single one of us besides you and Pops. Which does shock Marco, but yeah, Luffy in the middle kind of really sounds like fending off Kizaru. And Luffy decides to decides to use his light distortion to its maximum limit, making a majority of just, like, as after images of himself, or quote unquote after images. They're kind of more like just random appearances that resemble Luffy in great ways. Garp eventually saw through all this immediately, but he's hit in the face too early by Luffy with a jet pistol. This didn't really phase Garp, but still annoyed him. But Luffy charges up a cruel sun, and he fires it off as Sengoku would go into his Buddha form, using a shockwave to blow apart most of the sun. But then suddenly, Teach would basically hit him, and like a punch in the back, sending Sengoku like right out of his Buddha form. His defeat had actually followed Luffy, stealing keys from Impodonus when he has knocked out Magellan. Because Luffy can't use Haki, well, he didn't send the feat. So Luffy had basically keys to some cells, freeing the crew, and a few others. With this, the crew's formed, and Marineford's now kind of just in Blackbeard's favor. He's arrived there early and now causing havoc. Ace wasn't kill him, but he left that to the Marines, but he didn't see Luffy. No one did, really. Or some Marines did, but they thought Luffy was like part of Whitebeard's crew. When the ones that saw Luffy thought they were like an ally or something of Whitebeard, or the Marines. Like, the Marines thought he was a pirate. The pirates thought he was a Marine, but just vice versa. Ace and Luffy saw him, recognized who he was immediately, and Luffy just used Ace and Luffy kind of used one combined Fire Fist, started right up at Teach, and flames started to burn so bright that they even turned white. This thing engulfed Teach, burning him pretty badly as he hit the ground unconscious. Like he woke up like 10 minutes later. But with this, Whitebeard took the same injuries as in canon, but then after a second hole being blown through his chest, Luffy eventually starts to actually help fight against Akainu, as he burns harder than magma does. And well, Luffy and Ace keep fighting in tandem against Akainu, and then even Marco joined them to actually defeat Akainu. But then they have Kuzan, and Kuzan's ice isn't getting anywhere near Luffy, as Luffy's presence alone is melting the ice. So Luffy and Kuzan fight, and Kuzan kind of just retreats because Luffy is the sun, like the embodiment of the sun. So Kuzan doesn't work on him either way, even if he wanted to. And Kizaru finds Luffy too tricky to fight, like he's fighting a monkey. So yeah, Akainu's the only admiral who's not beaten by Luffy in some way. So yeah, like Kizaru's like, oh, I can travel as fast as light. Luffy's like, I can do that too. I can even bend your light or disperse it, so it doesn't matter. Kuzan's like, I can use ice. He's like, well, I can melt all your ice in a split second. I can melt Marineford in a split second, but kill everyone here. So yeah. So when Whitebeard's like kind of recovering after having two holes punched through him, suddenly Teach and his crew ambush him and barrage him with bullets, knives, and everything, and well, basically just Whitebeard dies. So yeah, he was through, but it's racing tried to use one quake. There's a hole punched through him, just like how Akainu oh, okay, you punch a hole through Whitebeard. Luffy did it. Luffy did it with Fire Fist. He hit the ground, coughing up blood, as soon as crew began to ambush Luffy. And Luffy was the one that used his brain to actually flip ice over on Luffy, making him fall into the ocean. Suddenly, Luffy's punched basically into the red line by someone, and Luffy is emerged with Red Shanks kind of helping him up. As we see Beckman as the one who punched the feet. So yeah, Luffy's coughing. He's coughing as he's like surprised that he was slipped in the water that quickly. And Luffy ended up reaching down, grabbing the fry, putting it on, thanking Shanks. Shanks with a smirk, saying no worries. And they emerge, well, how many members are dead and how many pirates are dead, plus Teach being dead and Ace and Teach both being alive. Teach barely alive, but well, this does actually lead to Shanks saying, you know, there's no victor here. The Marines, these guys have a bit more casualties, but the pirates took a bit more of a greater casualty. If anything, this war's a draw and nothing more. So yeah, Son Goku basically agreed to this as they leave. So yeah, they leave, and as they try to find where Teach is gone. So is Luffy. So yeah, Luffy then actually decides to ask Shanks for a ride to like Sabaody. Shanks should give him one. On the way there, Luffy and Shanks begin talking and drinking sake. Remember, Shanks even like stays on like Ruskana with Luffy for like a whole month, so they hang out there for a while. And Shanks saw Luffy strictly conquers hockey, only conquerors, nothing more. Giving Luffy actually a bit of an edge in conquerors. Giving Luffy also like the telepathic ability, not telepathic, but mimicking to like telepathy as Shanks did in the manga. So yeah. Then Rayleigh didn't need to teach Luffy conquerors much after that. So like Shanks taught Luffy most of the secrets of hockey. Only thing he didn't teach Luffy is like armament hockey, like the advanced version of it. Luffy the Conquerors can be imbued with armament hockey, that's about it. Didn't tell Luffy how to do it or anything. So with not much training from Rayleigh in terms of Conquerors, Luffy had a lot more time to focus on armament and observation. So when Luffy emerged, he already is almost a current, like an okay user of Riro. He can do it on like occasion, but not at all times when he wants. He can do it by will sometimes. It's kind of like that trick that you have, like, you know, I can do this own thing, but it kind of happens at random. Like, I can try to do it, but it won't happen. It happens like once in a blue moon. So yeah. Zoro and Buggy are very similar state. Well, not Buggy, but Zoro's in a very similar situation. And Buggy can currently use armament hockey on a pretty okay scale, same with observation, but that's about it. So yeah. And now with this we go on forward again, basically over to, well, probably Fishman Island, which is a pretty tame arc. Luffy's a fish. Not a fish, I mean, he's basically a sun user, and there's fish at Fishman Island. This isn't an animal for any enemies he has, which kind of obvious. So yeah. And Charlie didn't see Luffy bring down Fishman Island, so he kind of saw him saving the world. She saw him saving the world. Yeah, his fruits kind of just give him a whole new fate. But yeah. Now let's go on a bit forward again. Basically, I'd say, like, maybe, probably, like, Punk Hazard, which is a relatively safe arc for Luffy. The only thing that's different is when Caesar tries Luffy, and Luffy's like, you know, oh, well, sons made chemicals, and, well, you can try to cancel out my son, but it would take too long. So, with my son being the easiest thing to defeat you, here it is. And Caesar tries to disperse it, but it just makes it smaller, but no damage is, like, reduced of it, so Caesar gets hit by it, and the whole place is blown apart. Once Luffy hears how it's formed, he says it's not impressive, he can do the same thing. He could have done the same thing. Well, at Marineford, he could have killed everyone there if he wanted to, but he didn't want to kill that many people. It would have been bad on his conscience for a long time. But so he doesn't want to deal with the guilt of killing his own grandfather, and his own brother, and Whitebeard, and Marco, and the whole recruiting his allies, and the whole force of the Marines. If anything, that would give him too much of a high bounty, or no bounty whatsoever. That'd kind of end the Marines, and that'd give pirates too much freedom. As Luffy could have done that, but it would probably kill himself too, because he would have muscled the ice. So, yeah, he would have killed himself in that attack. So, yeah. That attack on Siege, creating like an actual sun is what it would do. So, yeah, not an actual sun, but it would be like mimicking one that was the size of Marineford. So, yeah. All right, now with this, we go on basically just now to Dressrosa, which is a pretty tame arc too, because, well, one, Birdcage is useless. Luffy burns so hot that he can just melt Birdcage in one instant. He still needs his allies to go pretty easily, actually. Chinjao is a pretty easy fight. Luffy just use one punch on him and send him flying out of the arena. So, yeah. He's going to tell Chinja that he's not Garp, so Chinja has no reason to, take an anger on him by only using Conqueror's Haki. Even like Luffy, since somehow how skilled Conqueror's Haki is, and knew it was Luffy immediately. Honestly, just because of Marineford, so, yeah. And also, I realized that at Marineford, Luffy's the strongest guy there by a long shot. Luffy knew it too, he just didn't use any of his power. But Luffy was not confident in him winning this one at all, even telling all the soldiers, saying that if they win, it'll be a miracle, and they could even be considered emperors after this win, but they'd be very lucky. Saying that even at Marineford, Luffy seemed to be the strongest one there. This one on Luffy's bounty, it's already nearing $1 billion at 900 million. It's current bounty, 900 million. That's also considers Dofi by a great amount, but yeah. The only thing interesting is Luffy versus Doflamingo, and as that fight goes on, Luffy beat Doflamingo into the dirt pretty easily. It wasn't really a hard fight, so yeah. So Doflamingo defeated. We can go on again to like, I guess. Doflamingo's kind of an easy victory. So is everyone here. Zoro's almost on the verge of Ryuo, which he cut Pika in half with just one slice of it. So, yeah. Like Zoro's Itoryu beat Pika. We're gonna go on to like the next fight being maybe just Zoe, which is a pretty tame arc, but Zoe's whole island is Luffy can kind of just use Napoleon. Not Napoleon, he can use like Prometheus against Big Mom. I don't know about that. Yeah, a lot of this arc is pretty simple actually. A lot of arcs from here on out are pretty easy for Luffy in general. So yeah, so here like this whole island like versus Katakuri be like the biggest change, or Cracker first, but like Cracker, Luffy just burned all the crackers to just dust with just one burst of like heat waves, or just Gear Fourth, which Gear Fourth is insanely scary now because it can utilize the power of the sun itself. So yeah, well it's intangible now, so or can be intangible. So Luffy versus Katakuri. Yeah, Luffy beat Katakuri pretty like in the first like, just like 10 minutes he beat Katakuri. Katakuri's like, oh yeah, well I have your fruit but better. He's like, I don't care, I have everyone's fruit but better. Like I have Oven's fruit times like 10 million. I have every brother's fruit times 10 million. I have my brother's fruit times 10 million. Any fruit based in heat, I have that fruit times 10 million. Who cares? You want to say you have my fruit but better? You don't. My fruit isn't a rubber fruit. It's something completely different. Almost I'm saying it out loud because it'd be too annoying to deal with that, to deal with the like aftermath of it. So yeah. Luffy gun fights Katakuri, pretty easily wins that fight. Katakuri isn't a chance against Luffy. Luffy's a master at Conqueror's Haki, on the verge of Ryuo, and advanced observation is something he unlocked before the fight even began. So, yeah. So Katakuri is pretty easily beaten by Luffy, and Big Mom and Luffy do fight, but Prometheus is basically useless. Luffy just made like a whole new sun and defeated Prometheus. Big Mom loses to Luffy actually, because all of her ships are out to sea as Luffy's being chased by them. But she used one cruel sun and made a giant wave that sunk all the ships. So Big Mom had lost to Luffy with that like degree. And there's Luffy's bounty guns from like the whole I'll give him like same races in canon, so I'll give him like a 2 billion berry bounties not in canon. We have 2 billion berry bounty in this one. That's like the only difference, 2 billion berries. And he's just slightly above him. So yeah. And Luffy's now a certified like 5th Emperor. He's a certified 5th Yonko. So 2 billion. He's closing in on Teach, and him and Teach are rivals. So yeah. Well, people think they are because of Marineford, but yeah. And Jaya and Marineford, they think they're rivals, but that's about it. Wano's pretty tame. Hold'em isn't really a threat. Neither is that sumo wrestler. No one's a threat to the Straw Hat crew. Zoro unlocked Ryo and Wano pretty early on, actually. And because Zoro unlocked Ryo early on and began training a lot harder, he beat the... I forget the fox's name, but the fox that had the giant monk fruit. Yeah, Zoro pretty easily beat him, and then easily beat Killer. Kaido was bored by the mountain. Well, Zoro cut that in half. No, Zoro, I mean, Luffy pretty easily held that off with his own attack. So, yeah. Just one fireball himself, and he held it off. Luffy that's just like a fire fist and beat Kaido's war breath in size like 100 times over. Kaido can only beat Luffy. Like at the best, Kaido can tie with Luffy in a fight, and that's about it. And Luffy says he can beat Kaido here now, but it caused too much like collateral damage. So Kaido can either retreat or lose here in front of a whole country. Kaido laughs on Luffy that he wants a war with Luffy on this date, which is the date of Onigashima. So, like, of the Onigashima arc. So, it works out for him. The threats all change, and in the training, they all change in terms of power. In the midst of Zoro's training for Onigashima, he unlocked Conqueror's Haki and Conqueror's Haki coding. Luffy unlocked it himself, but he unlocked it like in the middle of a fight with Kaido. So, yeah. He done master it, and also learn his awakening as he used it once against Rayleigh, and that's about it. Rayleigh didn't beat Luffy, he just avoided it the whole day. Not the whole day, like a whole like hour rampage Luffy had in his awakening formed, but yeah. But he has control over his awakening now. And when he trained his awakening, Kid and Killer unlocked theirs. Not Kid and Killer. Kid and Law unlocked their awakenings. They trained theirs as well. Kind of like Onigashima. Like Luffy told them both to just go ham as hard, like go as hard as they can on Onigashima using their awakenings. They do something completely that claps on like the first floor of it. Onigashima's being completely just destroyed by Kid and Law's awakenings. Then Zoro looked at King as he rushed at him. King and him fight, and Zoro pretty easily beat King. On Sanji fights against Queen, and that fight basically just goes the same as in canon. So, yeah. But Big Mom is faced down by Kid and Law, and Luffy faced down against Kaido. So, yeah. But the Luffy and Kaido being fighting, and with it just being Luffy and Kaido, Luffy pretty easily beat Kaido with really no difficulty before Onigashima was even in the air. And Yamato was shocked. She didn't even fight Kaido at all once. Like, she felt like ulti in page 1. So yeah. But Onigashima ended in the first 45 minutes of it. Kaido was pretty easily defeated by Luffy. It was Big Mom by Kid and Law. With Yamato being at full abilities 147, and well, once he turned into a dragon early on. Well, Onishima's kind of a wash. Is the best way to put it. So yeah. So Onigashima is a pretty easily handled arc by the Soul Strike crew. Alright, well, this would kind of be where the story would pause for now, but I'm in this part here, and I'll go on to different parts later on. So, yeah. But it's not going to be a long video. Luffy's too strong as is for his own burst now. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for the next part. I'd say like 30 likes would do. So, yeah. Alright, adios.